And I lost him. All right, well, this video is not necessarily about bass fishing, but it kind of is. Look, I come down here on vacation, right, with my family. Just got done with iCast, and I always come down here and go fishing. And look at this place. No one out here. I'll be the only one fishing for the most part. But I'd say this because of one thing. Man, I just think you're missing out if you're not just fishing for every single type of species all the time. Like, I don't care what happens, it'll help, right? I'm just telling you, I think it'll help. I'm old school. I think just always being out there on the water will help out. So I see some fish busting right there already. Man, I kind of catch everything out here, so you never know. But we're gonna get over here and catch some crazy, oh yeah, look at him. Look at him, busting right there. I'm bringing my top water down here tomorrow. I've never thrown a top water out here, but we're gonna start catching. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him getting it. Oh yeah. There he is. Things I've been wanting to talk about on YouTube. Man, sometimes they come to me, sometimes they don't. This one I've kind of been working on for a while, and I really don't know what to do. I know certain things on YouTube don't really come off well, and I don't know why that is. Like say I went and did something that's not like bass fishing related, like totally doesn't come off well. But here's the deal. This one is not necessarily bass related, but it is in my opinion. And so I'm gonna talk about it. This is what it's gonna be about. It's going out there and fishing for just not bass. My first fishing experience, right, was really just for catfish, right? I just used to catfish off the bank with my dad. That's how I got started. What's funny is, and I didn't even realize this, we used to go throw a shad net in the marina, a bunch of shad every morning, and then we'd go down to this where we had like a seawall bulkhead deal in this park, shad out there and catch catfish. Now what was funny to me when I look back at that is we used to just throw just a regular hook with a weight on there, basically a Texas rig, right? And we Texas rig shad and caught a bunch of catfish. I bring all this up for a couple reasons. One, just think all kinds of fishing can relate to each other, right? Then I was even throwing a Texas rig shad for catfish. As that progressed though, I'd always have to go catch shad, right? And I found different ways. Like, I understood the shad patterns because I realized I could only catch shad in the morning in certain places, and I'd go throw this cast net, and like during the day I'd catch these big gizzard shad and not so much small shad. And then I figured out where I was throwing this cast net and where I'd catch shad was always, it was different during the middle of the day, like the shade around these marinas, like all kinds of different things, right? Things that actually helped me out later on because I knew where shad would be during the middle of the day. Dude, that's where the bass were at. So like, I just always tell everyone, just fish for everything. Like, don't limit yourself to just bass. It's kind of like the sports these days, right? All these kids with these specialized sports, right? They only specialize in one thing, but every single coach out there will tell you, play multiple sports. Like, there's numerous reasons why. My wife was a strength coach at SFA. She will tell you that. Every single coach, they will tell you, play more sports, don't specialize. I say the same thing about bass fishing. So I did all that. I crappie fished. Man, I caught more white bass than I could ever even imagine growing up. And to this day, I still go out there and fish for other species. The reason I've been wanting to do this is on vacation, I always go down to Florida with my family, and man, just like straight up tourist looking stuff, right? We're We're in a hotel right by the beach, and every morning I walk out down there and I go fish right off the beachfront every morning. And what's funny is when I first started doing it, I mean, I kind of knew what I was doing, but even now, I really don't know exactly everything, but I learn every single time. Like I learn about the tides, I learn about the wind and the waves and why I catch stuff. And this last time, for whatever reason, I was catching a lot of Spanish mackerel real up close. And then one year I'll sit there and catch a bunch of big giant redfish, and I caught some, like some giant ones, right? Maybe I'll even throw a picture in here. They're not great pictures, but it's just literally off my straight up bass fishing rigs, right? It's just, I mean, everyone I see down there that actually, if they do fish, has got their spinning stuff. I'm out there with my bait casting. So I bring all this up is because this last time, and I didn't get to video all of it, right? But we went to different parts of the beach. I ended up couldn't catch, and I saw some redfish swimming around. I couldn't catch them. Saw some sharks. Haven't been able to hook a shark yet. And this is basically just on bass fishing gear, right? I don't go out there like throwing live bait or nothing. Man, really, in all honesty, I just throw the spoon, and man, I catch. I can't tell you the things I've caught. I mean, I catch them. I don't care. I'm one of those guys, man. Like, if it's gonna go crazy, I catch a ton of ladyfish, right? And everyone's like, oh, it's just ladyfish. Man, when you're catching them one after another for an hour, man, it's fun. I like watching ladyfish jump 4 foot in the air backwards, right? I mean, if nobody can't tell me that's not looks like a freaking little tarpon or a little baby smallmouth, right? Going nuts. Go fish for other things. Always have your rod and reel ready, because man, I'm telling you, it's amazing what you'll learn. I'll put it this way. This last time, so I've been doing this now for over 10 years, going down to the beach every year and doing this. And we're down in Florida, right? So it's a lot clearer water. So I always, it's different where you're at, right? Like, I've learned to fish in clear water different than I do in this in like dirtier water, because where I'm from in Texas, we don't have clear water down by our beaches, right? We have that old nasty old brown water, brown sand. I like going to that clear water with that white sand. So I was out there this last time, and I was throwing this one spoon, and I'll just put it to you this way, because I don't want to give it away, and here's why. Throwing this spoon, and this spoon did something different that I've never seen before, and it started moving a different way for one reason. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And I started looking at the spoon going, man, that thing looks awesome, even though it wasn't moving the way it was supposed to move, right? And I brought this up at our last little Strike King deal about baits, and I said, I think I can make this spoon. It gave me like this crazy idea for a bait, like crazy idea. And like, it started off as one bait, and then all of a sudden, like in my mind, it's progressed to this whole other deal. Like no one's ever even thought about something like this. And it's like, we're working on it. Like, we're gonna work on this bait, and it's gonna be a new bait and new design that works crazy. And like, that's what I got from this. Like, every single time, it doesn't matter what it is, you can learn something from going out there and fishing for different stuff. I just believe that, man. And I'll tell you one thing too, I get really good at like the drag system, right? Like our drag systems when we fish for bass are not as great, but I learned stuff about like trying to catch a ladyfish, man. They don't eat right. You always lose them. You're trying to fish this big giant heavy spoon, and they're jumping everywhere. And so I get to mess with the rods, right? I get to see how when those fish jump with a big giant heavy spoon in their mouth and shake their head, why you lose so much of them. So it's just everything, man. I really believe that going out there and fishing for different things. I might show you all a little bit what I'm talking about. I might have some different fish catches in here, some different things I go fishing for. And it's just one of those deals. I can't really tell you specifically, other than a couple little things about baits and some things that I've learned. I just believe over time, man, it just helps you understand the whole bass fishing deal. And here's why. I think there's something too, especially even in freshwater, like fishing for catfish, fishing for crappie, fishing for bluegill. Like fishing for bluegill, man, you want to go watch how like bluegill act, and when you throw stuff in there, I can't tell you how many times fishing for bluegill bass show up while you're fishing for bluegill, right? I've done it in ponds, I've done it on lakes. And so you get to see a reaction out of different fish. You realize I've caught bass before on a dead shad before, like, right? You never even heard about that, but it happens. Guys catch bass on their trot lines on Livingston all the time on live perch. All that up because what we think we know about a bass is still not true. And I believe that like one little thing, you might go 6 months fishing for crappie, and one little thing happens fishing for crappie and you catch some bass. I mean, I've caught a lot of bass crappie fishing, and it gets you in a different mindset because we totally think about just bass fishing lures catch bass. And I've always told everyone, man, I don't look at it that way. I always like when they categorize fishing lures as this is a bass freshwater bait, this is a saltwater bait. I've never even thought about that. I've never gone and looked in the saltwater section and go, these only catch saltwater fish. Never thought about it. Like, I always like, no, man, those catch bass all day long. And the reason they don't do it, like, people, like, bass fishermen are scared to death of seeing a silver hook, right? They see a silver hook and they're like, that's saltwater bait. And I'm like, what makes it a saltwater bait? Because they sell it in the saltwater section, right? And so you can get very narrow-minded when it comes to bass fishing. Like, this is the only way to catch them. And fishing around, fishing different styles, you know, fishing for different species, has showed me that, like, no, it's all just a fish, right? They act, yes, differently, but you can still catch them on every, like, you go fish for crappie, gar, catfish, anything, maybe not carp, maybe not those stupid things, but anything else, like, you basically can probably catch a bass on it. So you'll learn little different things. You'll learn about maybe why a bass will eat a crappie jig, right, over a big worm thrown down there. Just a little crappie jig, man. Like, sometimes they'll eat that thing up at certain times of the year. I know when they'll eat it, because I've done it quite a bit. Like, they will eat that little crappie jig. So anyways, just open that mind up, guys. Like, be real. I know some guys that are like some bass fishing purists, man. They won't do anything else. It's hurting y'all. I'm telling you, it is hurting y'all just doing that. Go fishing for everything, especially the young kids. Don't stop at bass, man. Just go get bit by stuff. I promise you. It'll help y'all out. Anyways, that's my video. Don't give up on the other fish, man.